Hello, ChoroQ and tank fans in deformed shape. Yes, it's a strange combination, but ChoroQ actually had a line called Combat Choro, or Choro Combat, where they had a bunch of World War II vehicles. And so one of the greatest World War II vehicles is the Tiger I tank, which you see in these photographs. There's one that's actually operational at the Tank Museum in the UK, and there it is. This is a behemoth of a tank. It weighed 50 to 60 tons, depending on what you consider a ton. And it was based around a flak cannon, an 8.8 centimeter flak cannon. Everyone just called it 88. And so that's the basis of this gun. You'll notice that the armor is generally flat. It's not even sloped. But there's 8 inches or 200 millimeters of armor right here in this gun mantle. And then there's just, even the floorboard or the base pan is 1 inch thick or 25 millimeters. So that's crazy, and that's why the thing weighed a lot and sucked down a lot of gasoline, which was actually part of the reason why I think the Germans lost the war. They were running out of resources. Anywho, they made over 1,300 of these tanks in that time between 1938 and 1941, according to Wikipedia. It's powered by a Maybach V12 engine, making around 700 horsepower. But that actually doesn't mean much because per horsepower, or per PS, which is the German equivalent of a horsepower, it would have 13 per ton. So imagine moving 1 ton of vehicle with only 13 horsepower, or German horsepower. So it's not a speed demon, you know? I'm sure it had a lot of torque, but I mean, the thing weighed 60 tons, right? 50, 60 tons, so that is the story of this. There's 2 tanks here. I picked up these things loose locally here, and I looked up these numbers. These are real tanks that existed. So this is an interesting one. This is this tank number 231. You can't see the 231, but you can see it's riddled with bullet holes because in some battle in Russia in February 1943, Semernikovo, Russia, this thing was hit by 252 shots of a variety of weapons. You know, anti-tank rifles, up to 4.5 centimeter anti-tank guns. 250 shots in that battle, and then it still managed to go home at 60 kilometers away. So, that's what armor does. But anyways, I couldn't find much information about the history of S-33, but you can see it is camouflaged with this like tiger, almost like a tiger pattern. And yeah, so ChoroQ did some homework on these guys. So anyways, very impressive stuff. The real tank, that is. I would love to see one in person, but I'm not going to go to the UK just to see a tank. Oh, sorry, phone mount fail. I'm always trying out new ways to video record stuff, and the mount on this is new to me, so I don't know what I'm doing. Actually, I don't know what I'm doing in most of my videos, so you gotta accept that. Alright, let's go to S33 here. So yeah, you got this green, brown, it almost looks like it's airbrushed, but I'm sure it's a tampo print. And then the text in the German cross there, the Iron Cross I think it's called, is well printed. You can see this is all solid. This is a children's toy. It actually has a ChoroQ motor and rubbery tires, so it will zip along like a regular ChoroQ car. But I mean, if you ran this into a wall, that thing's just gonna snap off. So I don't know. I wouldn't recommend playing with these things. And for the price that these things go for now, I don't think it would be worth doing. All right. Speaking of which, how old is this thing? It says 03. Yeah, so we have a 20-year-old toy now. Standard construction of a screw and a tab in the back. You can see the treads there. They're on the outside of the tires. And then it says number 1. I think that's the casting number because the other one also has that same number. So it tells you it is a Tiger 1. This was made by a company called Henschel in the real world. Alright, so you guys have vent details here. These are the exhaust pipes there. There's even armor for the top of those. Inlets or whatever to the Maybach engine. You got some black paint here. You got the printing on the back even. I think this is like an ammo canister. The cupola, the mantle. So it's kind of very toy-like. It's definitely missing a lot of details. It doesn't even have the bump here for the machine gun port, unless that's what. Oh, I think that's what this is supposed to be. The mold came upwards, so there's no actual barrel This is supposed to be the barrel, but it's extruded upwards. So yeah, they weren't investing a lot of money into these things. Choro-Q, that is. The turret can obviously turn. Does it come off? I think it will. No, well, it lifted up. Well, anyways, there seems to be some hatch details for the driver and the gunner or whatever. Alright. The turret does not move up and down. It's nice that it is hollow there, though. It does look like a barrel, so that's kind of cool. And you even have paint down here. And then the coin holder is still there if you want to do a wheelie with the thing. But, yeah, whatever. It doesn't look so bad, actually, having the coin holder, because the tank is bigger than an average Choro-Q. So this is the exact same mold. We just have different paint apps. It's just tan, but there's some weathering apps on the wheels here. And then, yeah, there's that thing and a little port. Okay, so it's basically just a tan version with the number 231, but it did exist in the real world. I like the little rivet marks and stuff like that, little hatch openings and all that, so yeah, it's okay. No, that will not come out. I guess you could probably take it apart if you wanted to, but I'm not going to bother. So, you know, not the greatest. It's literally a toy. It's a deformed tank in really small form, so there's no scale because this thing would be a big vehicle in real life. It's over 6 meters long in real life. Alright, let's look at a few other things. So, a long time ago, I reviewed this one, the Panzer IV. This is casting number 2. I have to assume number 221 was a real Panzer IV, and it has the same type of livery as number S33 here, and the turret moves and all that stuff. But in the real world, this would be a much smaller tank. Less than half the weight of this tank. So physically smaller and definitely weight-wise smaller, and armament, it's just a lesser tank. So, okay, here's a normal Choro-Q. This is a G-Wagon from some sort of highway police set, but it's got military camo pattern for some reason. so yeah, the Choro-Q has no sense of scaling whatsoever. They're just building everything around the size of that spring motor inside of them. So you gotta take that in mind. They're just cartoon things, and that's fine by me. One other thing I'm gonna show you. Oh, my tree fell off. I have to glue that back. This is a 1/44 scale PVC collectible. I think it's made by either World Tank Museum or possibly Dragon or Can Do. Those are the brands I recall when I used to collect these tanks. I used to have like 100 of these 1/44 scales. I kept this one because this livery is for Michael Wittmann. He is the greatest tank ace in history. He has been credited with 138 tank kills. So sadly, he killed many hundreds of people because he took out 138 tanks. The battle that made him famous was in France called Villers-Bocage. I'm not pronouncing that right, of course. In that one battle in June 1944, he took out 14 tanks, 15 APCs, and 2 anti-tank guns within 15 minutes. So, he literally took out over 30 different things in less than 15 minutes. So, what he did is like a convoy of vehicles, and he took out the first one and the last one, and they just shot everything in between. Pretty smart, right? Pretty basic, but pretty smart. But anyways, yeah, so, you know, war is horrible, but you gotta respect someone that skilled to be able to take out 138 tanks. So I don't even know how many vehicles in total the guy's taken out, but he took out 138 tanks in his career. Alright, well, so yeah, this is my small Choro-Q tank collection. There, we got 3. So I'll try to find some more, and we'll learn about some tank history, because although I'm tempted to go back and collect these again, it just seems silly for me to go back and recollect the things I already had, right? So I probably won't. But if you guys are new to collecting things, and you like tanks, and you don't want to make model kits, 1/44 scale, you want to look these up. There's several different brands, but I think the biggest array is World Tank Museum, WTM. But all of them are generally the same. They're all generally PVC, and they all have these nice paint apps and details. Oddly, there's no branding whatsoever. So, anyways, they were worth getting. It's just that I've already been there and done that. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you in the next deformed armor video. Bye now, and stay safe.